Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the show My Ticket Home. What's going on? Derek is left. And all right, that's the kind of respect I get here on the Brand Spankin New Metal Show is I bring you out, I do the big introduction.
I think he thought you were going to play the whole song, dude.
I do the big introduction. I'm like, hey, I love this band. They mean a lot to me. I'm so excited to have them on the show.
That's cool. He's back. Hey, we're on the air, D.
Derek, since you
I'm
embarrassed,
so sorry.
since you
I
embarrassed
thought
me,
it was longer than that.
since you embarrassed
That's
me,
why I was like,
you have to embarrass yourself. What did you just go to get?
Did you play?
I pissed, and I went and got another delicious, amazing, contrary to anybody's belief, grape White Claw. Was
That's
so
right,
good.
Derek.
Oh,
I would drink
Derek
it again.
decided to himself that this next White Claw was more important than being prompt and on time. But hey, you know what? I'm putting that in the past. Derek and Nick from My Ticket Home, welcome to the show.
What's up, guys?
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Great to have you guys on and would like for you to both introduce yourselves and your band.
Well, that's Derek.
Sure. Yes. So I'm Derek. I drink grape White Claws, and I'm late to things, and I play guitar.
My name's Nick. I sing and play bass in My Ticket Home.
So I was alerted to your band when somebody did send me Hot Soap. Like toward the beginning of the New Metal Moment account, somebody sent me Hot Soap and been like, have you ever posted this before? I was like, no, I've never heard this before. Check it out. That shit made me into a believer really fast. I fell in love with Strangers Only right away after that. I still consider it to be the greatest new metal album of the 2010s. All right, maybe Arizona. I'm not doing this on air, but it's my favorite new metal album of the 2010s. But before we get into the Strangers Only saga, I would like for you guys to introduce the band and where you guys got started, how you guys got started making music.
For sure, man.
You can tell I'm very excited to talk about Strangers Only.
Dude, no, it's great, bro. And we did, Kirk and I, we did an interview. We talked, it was probably like a year ago now.
You were like, I was telling Derek before you got on, you were like our third podcast guest.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
I thought you guys had way more before I was.
Yeah,
That's what
you were like top of our list. We got to talk to this guy.
Well, that's an honor, man. Thank you very much. So we talked probably like a year ago now. It wasn't on video, but we did did the audio stream.
Bro, it was like 3 years ago.
It wasn't that long, was it?
Dude.
Anyways, time flies, man. But speaking of time flying, so our band, we started in 2008. So this is my first band. We started this 2008, probably like would have been sophomore year of high school, and kind of a common trajectory. I was really into like skateboarding and different all types of like aggressive music, and then some of the guys I went to school with were in bands and went to see them play their shows, and I think that was like a big inspiration was kind of when you see people that are from your hometown or that you go to school with doing something, it makes it feel tangible and real.
Right.
So I had some friends who were in bands and they were getting successful and they got a record deal. Their band was called Attack Attack, and they were like a little bit older than us.
They just sent me their new album.
Yeah, man, they're still making music. They've gone through member changes and stuff.
I'm not gonna listen to it.
So they were kind of like the blueprint for me as a kid. You know what I mean? Because they were like the older kids who were already doing it.
Nick Giametti was like, "Crabcore is it. I need to be a part of this."
Well, dude, like I remember, that was like one of my first shows was going to see them play. I mean, that was like my introduction into the world of like any sort of local scene or local music where we were from in Ohio. So anyways, we started from there, and then Derek joined the band. Probably like a year or two after that. He was in some other bands around town, and we kind of played together and always liked each other's style. And we had some members leave the band when we started touring. You know what I mean? They didn't want to tour full time. So, and then Derek joined. Would have been like 2012.
That sounds about right. And I think that honestly, like we met through skateboarding more than music. Like it was,
perfect.
Skating together before,
Perfect.
And then it was like we played a show together.
Oh yeah, we played a few.
I ironically had just gotten my appendix taken out, and I really wanted to play that show because they were on it because I liked them. And yeah, within like a couple of weeks after that, just a transition happened in their band, and it made sense like for for me to at least like play with him for a few shows, and then ended up ganging up with the gaggle, if you will.
So that would have been right when we were finishing the very first record that we did on Rise, the first full length.
To
record.
Create a Cure.
That was 2012. Yes.
That one.
What
Yep.
came out before To Create a Cure?
We had an EP. It was called The Opportunity to Be.
And then that led to the deal.
Yeah, so we kind of like the way we did it is we had the EP like fully recorded, and we kind of offered that to them as like help sweeten the deal of like, hey, we have this EP that's already recorded. If you guys are open to signing us, you can release this. You don't have to pay for it. It's literally ready to go. And this is kind of like something to help them like consider us.
How did you end up on their radar?
From Attack, because they were on Rise. So Attack was like, they put in a good word for us. We played their CD release show. The label came out to see them play, and we opened on that show. And I remember it was the day of my high school graduation, and I had to like beg and plead, my parents to like let me play. So we skipped the high school graduation to go play that show for the label. And then, they liked us, and kind of we talked with them from there.
That's a great reason to skip your graduation.
Oh,
it's like
so
Nick,
good, man.
Nick could not be here. He's a fucking rock star.
No, it wasn't like that at all. But it felt like, oh, this is an opportunity you don't want to miss. And then it's funny. Then I had to go do a staged photo shoot with my principal, so my mom could get the photo.
Oh,
so, like,
nice. You went back.
I had to get the principal to be like, hey, man, my mom needs this picture. Like, can you? Like, it was me and my parents. I was in the gown and the hat and everything in an empty auditorium with our principal. Just stood
Well, it
there,
was
like,
nice of him to do it.
taking us in. Oh, I can't believe it. Yeah.
So listen, I'm seeing Crispin here in the first time chat talking about how he skateboarded with you guys during the Strangers Only cycle at the Champ in Lancaster, PA. How big is skateboarding to this band? Which of you is the best skateboarder?
Derek, without a doubt, is better than me.
I'm looking at the decks on the wall. It would be criminal if he
He's
wasn't.
the man.
Well, here's the thing. Like, Nick was really good. Like, I mean, it's not like he was definitely the best out of his friend group.
Give me the give me like the extension. Like, could you guys drop in? Could you do grinds? Could you 360s?
Yeah, like grinds, flip tricks. My thing was like, we both kind of like street skating more than like park or vert. Derek was a little bit better at park than me. Like Derek was sponsored. He skated in contests and stuff. Way better than me. Like I just skated with my buddies after school, and like kind of got as good as we could amongst our friend group. But definitely not as good as like what D was doing.
Wizard with an incredible idea. Have you guys been playing Tony Hawk 3+4?
Not yet.
I beat it fucking 8 hours. It's already a wrap.
Slid through that shit. I'm working my way through it. I'm really disappointed in the soundtrack. And the soundtrack to those games is like everything to me. And
well, to be honest, it's like a life goal of mine to be on a Tony Hawk Pro Skater game. And I don't know. Not that
I'll put in a good word.
We belonged on that one, but we could have helped.
I'll put in a good word. I'll see what I can
for the
do.
skateboarder mentality.
But anyway, Big Skaters, now you're signed to Rise. And if my information is correct, Rise gave you $300,000 as an advance. It was more. It was more.
It was actually
than
$1 million. Yeah, it was $1 million.
It was
yeah,
$1 million
I don't know where you got your
per member.
Yeah. We bought my parents' houses. It was great.
But then you did end up with To Create a Cure. Now I'm gonna come clean about something. I had never heard To Create a Cure until 30 minutes ago.
It's kind of a different band.
You know what? I was kind of into it. It had more to it than I thought it did. What was the lead single off of it?
A New Breed.
A New Breed.
That's the one we did the video for.
A New Breed, I thought was a little like of its moment. Like it has like the clapping breakdown, right? Like with the gang vocals.
There's like stick clicks. No, there's some of that on there where there's like a little bit of like
But you would agree with me that To Create a Cure is much more like straight ahead, bring the horizon type metalcore.
It's very metalcore. It's very kind of like of the scene. Like I think back to that time, and so we did that record, and we
sorry, Derek, are we interrupting something?
Not at all.
Derek's got a busy schedule.
No.
What was it? We're talking about that album, right? So that was That would have been 2012. So the thing with doing that record is like we had never been on tour. We had never hardly played any shows like outside of our hometown. Um, so we signed the record deal, and then we were like having a hard time getting tours. And I just remember hearing the phrase from so many people of like, oh, it's because you don't have an album. Like the EP is cool, but it's not an album. So
Right.
we were like, all right, well, let's make an album. So it was just a product of the time, and I just remember being like, I'm 18 years old, 19 years old, never toured, don't really have a larger connection to the music scene, and we're just writing this record because we feel like we have to. So it was really just kind of I think of it as a time of like just kind of how like naive and new we still were. So it's very much like us just trying to do what we think people will like.
How do you and Derek? Did you play on that album?
I didn't play, but I was involved with the band
You sang on one.
during that period of
sang
time.
on-
I
you
did
sang on
do
one song,
harmonies
yeah.
randomly on one of them. Yeah, that was
'Cause he-
the only time I was on the record, I think, though.
Yeah, because you joined as we were recording it, and we had most of it recorded at the time. And Sean had already done, I think, like most of the vocals. And we were thinking about, okay, who's gonna sing for us if Sean's leaving? And then we tried you on harmonies on one of the songs, and then you became the singer.
Yep.
Yeah.
How do you reflect back on To Create a Cure? It's funny because it's like, is that your biggest album?
It probably sold the most.
Our biggest video is from that record. And I think that, like, we were into it at the time. It's not like,
For sure, yeah.
completely being fake and writing something that was, like, oh, this is just to fulfill, we were into it, but it was definitely like, I think we were coming to an end by the end of that record on like vibing with that kind of stuff, like, and it was, we were slowly growing into something else. There's even like at least one song on that album that I think started to kind of go a bit of a different direction. And that was a big realization of like, this can be something else. And then especially when, Sean being a primary writer for the project, like wasn't in the band anymore, there was a little more freedom in some of what I think like we all wanted to do without a specific direction. Like there wasn't we're going new metal, we're going this, or we're doing this. It was very just more or less like, we're going to find a route, like, and I think that over a lot of time in Nick's basement, we did.
I do think
it
is now. I do think it is a good album. I will tell you, I have a giant spreadsheet of new metal songs that feature a Go breakdown. I was really excited to add A New Breed to that list. I was like, yes.
There is in there, yeah. It's got that little bendy bit, It's like a little bit different.
But from what I'm hearing, from like what you guys have been telling me, you feel like you were also very young and kind of felt like you had to get an album out.
Yep.
Yes, I think it was the maturity level of where we were, like musically and age-wise and everything else. I think that all compiled, and what we were into again at the time, but I think we were on our way out already.
Yeah. I do want to say I agree with Derek of like, I don't want to give the wrong impression of like, oh, we didn't like what we were making or anything like that. It was just,
it's a good album. It's a good album.
We didn't really know of anything else,
That's the truth. Yeah. That's the truth.
I kind of like, I always have this like temptation to put it down just because I have such a contentious relationship with metalcore, which I only just recently realized, or was told that it stands for metal plus hardcore. I thought metalcore was just whatever sounds like Bring Me the Horizon.
No, it's metal and hardcore, right? That's the fusion of that.
Didn't know.
But it's such a wide umbrella of like styles that are categorized under that, and I think people have like a lot of different definitions. Like there'll be debates about what is and isn't considered metalcore.
Oh, that sounds infuriating. That sounds even worse than debating on new metal.
It can be, I suppose.
Speaking of which, To Create a Cure came out in 2012. You turn around, you do Strangers Only in 2013. Nick, you said something to me the first time we spoke on our podcast that I think about all the time. You said to me that when you created Strangers Only, you guys were just fans of Limp Bizkit. Not like ironic fans. You genuinely just liked Limp Bizkit. And I think that's really significant because even to this day, for as much as Limp Bizkit's reputation has made strides or whatever, people still usually don't take them seriously. Now, I'm interested as to like how that influence folded in with you guys, how that became a part of the second album.
It's a good question. I mean, I feel like no one ever told me it wasn't cool, so it just seemed obvious that it was cool. Like, I don't know. Like, I think we were just young enough. Like, I've talked to other friends in bands and in the music industry and stuff where they were just like a little bit older than us, and they kind of said stuff along the similar lines of like, oh, it's cool to see you guys, pulling from these influences and doing this thing. Like, people were talking to us at the time when we had released that album. And like, to me, I just didn't know any better. Like, I didn't know any different. I didn't know.
Thank God.
I didn't know.
Thank
I didn't
Christ.
know.
Jesus.
I didn't know that new metal was so hated on. Like, to me, it was not like the default, but like I just grew up like being into you know different bands in that genre, and I always loved that blend of heaviness and rock. Together.
Like heaviness and accessibility.
Yeah, exactly. And so like to me, it was like the standard, I guess, so like I didn't even know that we were doing like a considered taboo thing. It was just seemed obvious. I mean,
Derek, you're fully in the band by this point.
Yeah.
Are you a Wes Borland aficionado?
Well, now, but at the time it wasn't so much like, I thought he was a great guitar player and everything. I liked that they were able to pull off like these very heavy riffs, and it felt full and ripping, without breakdowns. There's not like this open breakdown chug thing that has to happen for that moment in the song. They were utilizing great riffs, and they felt heavy. I think of like that style or whatever, kind of like I relate it to like WWF. Like, people go through phases, or WWE now I think it's called. Like, there's these phases of like, oh well, that's lame, now it's cool, now it's lame, now it's cool, like as you grow up.
I've always felt like after
it's lame.
I always felt like after the song Shadow Moses by Bring Me the Horizon, the breakdown became this like thing where it's like, and now here's the breakdown. It became separate from the songwriting process. It wasn't like verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. It was like verse, chorus, bridge, breakdown, and then, maybe another chorus at the end. It sounds like you guys were trying to rebel against that idea that a breakdown couldn't just be a part of the song. Am I getting anywhere?
Yeah,
with this?
it became such a moment. Like, it's like almost like most of the time in those types of songs, it's the most effective thing, or the part that somebody brings up, like, did you hear that breakdown? Did you get to fucking 340, when it drops? And it's like, well,
which is so annoying.
What if you just wrote a whole good song and the whole thing was good instead of just waiting for the moment in the song? I mean, that sounds more ideal to me.
Well, if we're going to talk about Strangers Only, which obviously I'm very excited to do, I would like to set the stage to everyone. I'm speaking modestly here. Strangers Only is probably one of the 20 greatest nu metal albums ever made. And you know what? You guys are gonna
huge, bro.
You guys are gonna think this is crazy. We have a list of the 100 greatest nu metal albums ever, and I'm debating on swapping it with LD50 by Mudvayne in order to get it into the top 20. Oh, Nick's like, no, you can't do that.
I agree with Nick. I don't think that we deserve that. Yeah. I mean, like, I appreciate the shit out of that, but I don't know that.
Wait. Wait. Why? Why don't you think you deserve that?
Well, because they laid the ground for it. It not that we were really paying much attention to that, but like, it wasn't something that we necessarily created. We found our own lane for it. But it wasn't like it was our, we started it or whatever. Like, without them, there probably wouldn't be an us.
But you basically did start it again, because I don't want to jump too far ahead in the narrative, but something else that Nick told me that really is something that I think about all the time. Nick told me that Strangers Only did really bad.
Oh,
terrible.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like you did do it again. Because
at first,
you were going for like full tilt, full throttle, no apologies, nu metal in an era in which that was not okay. And I'm very interested. What I really want to get out of you guys for this interview is, how did it happen where you went from 2012s to Create a Cure, which is very much like of the time metalcore, to Strangers Only, which is very much like out of time new metal revival? What happened in that year? Because I'm sure that there's an alternate reality here where you guys just kept doing the standard issue metalcore thing, but you didn't. You took a hard left turn. How did that happen?
I think it was mainly from like we did tour a lot in that year, and I think we just kind of got burnt out, because not burnt out from touring, but burnt out from the style of music that we were playing, just from seeing so many other bands doing the same thing, you know, and like no shade to anybody who was playing at the time.
Name
or that we ever
names.
played with.
I want to hear some names.
Oh,
Name
well,
names.
Trash.
there's so many
Shit.
bands that we toured with at the time, but it wasn't like anyone specifically.
Chat, I
but
want you to
just-
come up with some names. Who was doing some bullshit ass metalcore around 2011, 2012?
You
Give me names.
put us on that list, man. We're right on that list with everybody
You're
I
else.
like to Create a Cure. I thought it was better than I thought. I was better than I remembered. All right. Anyway,
It's kind of messy, but I think it was just we were doing what we were doing at the time, and then when we got out on tour, we realized that so many other people were doing the same thing, and I think the novelty of it and the uniqueness kind of wore off for us, and it wasn't something that we realized. At least for me personally, it was just kind of that reflection of like, oh man, like you're just doing the same thing as everybody else, you know, and you just start to see all the formulas in it, and then, you know, you kind of see yourself in the mirror of like, well, I'm just doing the same thing that they're doing, you know. So when we were working on, you know, the next record, like Derek said, like we didn't really set out with a plan of what we wanted to do. I think we knew what we didn't want to do, which was we didn't want to
Moss
just kind of
underscore puts
write the same
underscore
sort of
69
riffs,
on the channel
you
we're
know,
meant to be.
the same sort of song structures, and wanted to kind of like get out of the sort of like scene formula that we had just seen from ourselves and a ton of other bands.
what I find really fascinating, what I find really invigorating, what I find really motivating about Strangers Only is that it feels like you guys were taking, you guys would come up with one really good guitar riff, something really simple, right? Like 3-2-0 or 0-2-0 or something like that. And then you would not make it more complicated. You would make it simpler. So when it's time to break that riff down, you would just go from 3-2-0 to 2-0 or just 0-0. And it's fascinating to me that in a time where it felt like metalcore had to become more complicated to succeed, you guys were going in the opposite direction. Like, let's just break all this shit down to nothing. So I'm going to start by asking, what was the main guitar tuning used on Strangers Only?
A sharp, right?
Yeah, it's the same one. We've stayed in the same tuning since that record.
Drop A sharp?
Yeah, drop A sharp. There's a couple songs on.
What you want to call it, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's
A sharp B flat. There's a couple other songs on Unreal, the following album, where we play in C standard, but that's only one string you tune up. So pretty much everything is drop A sharp.
That's fascinating to me because Strangers Only, it never chugs. It riffs. You know, it riffs. It has all that
Right,
electricity to it. It never gets bogged down in that like gung, gung, gung thing. Derek,
Yeah, it's not like Genty or anything.
right, which I hate so much. Derek, you were fully involved with the band by this point. You're writing a lot of the guitar parts. Am I right?
Yeah.
How was it? Because I'm gonna assume that you're a very technically accomplished guitarist.
It depends on how you look at it. I'm a riffer. I'm not much of a solo guy.
So then where was the where did this motivation come from to just break it all down to its barest essentials, to kind of build a rally car, not a sports car, not a supercar, build a rally car out of metalcore?
I think it, more than anything, it was trial and error. Like, it wasn't, like, again, we no plan. It was just like, I don't know how many versions of the first few songs that never made it existed, but a lot of versions were happening, because we were chasing something that we didn't know we were chasing, like, it wasn't, again, there was no plan for like, let's go new metal, or like, we want to sound like this or this or this. It was just more or less all of us like writing riffs, putting things together. And that includes everybody, like obviously Matt, the other guitar player, wrote plenty of riffs. Marshall and Nick were all in the room. Nick was writing riffs. Like, it's not. I think we were all chasing something we didn't know. We didn't know what we were chasing. We were just trying to grab something. And then once, really, like, Nick wrote the initial riff for Spit Not Chewed, it was something else at the time, and it converted into what that song became. And I think from that initial platform, like, it was, we felt like we officially had a direction. It took that to go, okay, this is what we're building off of, like, and it's a lot easier for a guitar player like me, I guess, to know what to build off of, because now I've heard it, and now I can, at least not with the, Korn, Slipknot, Deftones, like whatever, like, box we kind of like ended up getting like thrown into, but more like what we all liked.
Hey, that's a good box, man. I love that box. Don't talk shit about
I love that box too. Yeah, I do enjoy the box. Yeah, I like a good box.
That's a better box than like Architects and Sleep Token. It's a better box. I'm sorry.
I would agree with that, but
come on,
that's personal taste.
I was gonna ask though, like, what were some of the other inspirations around that time? Because, like, yes, of course, there is some like strong Limp Bizkit influence. Limp Bizkit, I'm talking about like Stuck or I'm Broke, or some of their like heavier riffathons. But I'm also hearing a lot of Hatebreed.
Interesting.
Nah,
no,
we all like Hatebreed, but I don't think anyone was listening to them. At the
well,
time.
I was thinking Hatebreed though because of
like,
how
we constantly got influences like that. Were like, dude, you guys, Silverchair was a great example. Like, we had never even heard of Silverchair,
Yeah, I never heard of
and then they were like, multiple bands comparing us to them, and like, we're Fuel, like these cool bands that you've never heard of, like, and turns out they're fucking awesome, like, and we accidentally somewhat sound like them, but it wasn't on purpose. It was just what we liked.
What else were you guys interested in though at the time?
Dude, the list was pretty short. Like, I remember the feeling of, like Derek is saying, like, after the record came out, people would say, oh, it kind of reminds me of this band or that band. And it was like a tidal wave of new bands that I was discovering that I had never heard of. And people saying that we sounded like them, which I was like, sweet, give me all these influences. Like, I'm into it. But at the time, yeah, man, like, at the time, my personal biggest, I think what a good thing is that it's different for each person. Like, we all had stuff that we shared, and that, we'd always play in the van together or in the car together. We had a lot of crossover, but there was also some individual stuff that each person liked more than the rest. But so, like, for me personally, would have been Slipknot, Nirvana, and Limp Bizkit were like the main ones that I was listening to.
Slipknot, Nirvana, Limp Bizkit. For those of you out there that have never heard "Strangers Only" by My Ticket Home, I want you to imagine what that might sound like. It sounds like that.
I don't know if we achieved that, but that's just,
you achieved it. You achieved it.
That's awesome compliment.
Thank you.
So, Strangers Only, though, truly a glorious record. When I've been revisiting it lately, I was kind of thinking to myself, it sort of sounds like a concept album about being a young adult and also dumb as shit.
Yeah. It's accurate.
There's not really any concept, but the lyrics are very, like I said, like, Nirvana was like, like, I don't know about how you guys are, but, like, I'll go through a phase where, if I either, like, discover a band or just get really into a band for a period of time, for like anywhere from like that 2 to 6 months, that's like, I'll do a deep dive, you know what I mean? Like, I'll just become enthralled, So at that time was really like my kind of first time discovering Nirvana. Like, of course, like, they're fucking everywhere. They're one of the biggest bands.
But like, to discover Nirvana is to get into like In Utero deep tracks.
That's what I mean. Like, to be listening to Bleach and In Utero, and to go through it and listen through their further catalog, and then of course to like watch the interviews, watch the live shows, watch the documentaries, like, getting into all those sort of things, and like understanding the individuals as much as you understand the music. Like, I think that's what draws a lot of people into certain bands, where like the music is what hooks you, but the personalities, the individual is kind of, I think, what you really kind of fall in love with, or that you can kind of see a connection with. So I think at the time I was, like, you can even see it in the videos and shit, the way I'm dressing. Like, I'm fucking obsessed, man. I thought it was so cool. So I think like the lyrics are where because obviously we don't sound like Nirvana, but the lyrics for me personally of like you said, like very almost like childish, you know what I mean? Like just very kind of like dead simple. Like, and the reason I liked it so much is it was like the antithesis to what metal lyrics typically were or are in the scene of like it wasn't, and no, and nothing against it. Like I like good deathcore and black metal and all that type of shit, but it wasn't that of like they weren't like evil lyrics. They were like they were weird.
They were
like,
vulnerable.
little rhymes and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of where that came out from.
And almost fun, you know.
You know, I'm
Yeah,
almost
and
a
fun
little,
too, yeah.
I'm also disappointed that I didn't catch the Kurt Cobain comparison, because what I've been thinking about upon revisiting Strangers Only is it's like your screams on the record are very untrained. They're not like contained. They're not a sort of controlled kind of screamage. They do more resemble Kurt Cobain doing In Utero, because they just sound very wild. They're really shredded. They're just,
that's a really kind comparison. I appreciate. I remember at the time I was very frustrated making that album
that's
because
what it sounds like.
well, well, it's good and bad, but I was frustrated. I was frustrated with myself. You know what I mean? Like I was frustrated. I was frustrated that I couldn't sing the way I wanted to. You know, I was coming out of this, this very kind of like sterile metalcore vocal style where it's like, you know, you've got your lows and your mids and your highs, and the people that I was into, the screams didn't sound like that. They just felt like emotional, you know?
Yeah.
And I wanted to, like, dude, I wanted to be able to do like the sing scream thing so fucking bad, man. I didn't have it figured out at the time.
Kind of
I think I
like
can do it
Davey
now.
Havok style.
Like kind of like Norma Jean, that type of thing, you know. Like I wanted to be able to do that, and I tried to do it on some of the songs, and there's like little tastes of it, but you can, like, when I listen to that record, I just hear like the growing pains that I was going through trying to write the vocals that I wanted to write, that I was like figuring out in real time, you know.
Derek, no
anyways,
offense,
yeah.
you're not doing the clean vocals on Strangers Only, are you?
I sing a little. We trade off.
You do listen. Derek, you're also.
Yeah.
Oh shit! So like
Yeah.
on Keep Alone, that's you.
That's me.
Oh.
Yeah. Now Nick did do like also, but he also had like, you know, trade offs, or we would, you know, kind of compliment each other, like, you know, whether I was, you know, like doing this and then he would scream, or like, you know, we were doing harmonies or whatever the circumstance. Like
Okay.
it was
I thought Matt was doing the counterpoint vocals. I'm dead ass wrong, and I'm bad at my job.
Matt and Marshall do screams.
What I think is really fascinating about Strangers Only is that you, within those first like 3 tracks, you feel like you get an idea of what it's gonna be like, and then Keep Alone happens, and there's this huge hook, this massive clean chorus that comes through, the kind of chorus that you would hear on like a Linkin Park song or something. And I think that really invigorates the album all over again, to remember like, oh shit, they're gonna write big choruses as well. Derek, were you the one to come up with that?
No, I think Nick wrote it. I think I just sang it. I'm pretty sure.
I'm trying to remember. I think we wrote it in.
I wrote that song, and I think Nick wrote the melody to the song.
Because we wrote that in the studio. Because I remember I do remember the like writing all the melodies. I think I don't know. You can disagree with me, D, but I think that was the hardest part of writing the record for sure.
No, it totally was. I mean, it was because trying to make it fit, to not sound, you know, like it was appropriate. It
just find that
like
identity.
Music, you know, like, and we would spend. I mean, we had this like studio apartment thing, you know, like while we were recording in New Jersey with him, and I mean, we would be up till 2, 3 in the morning playing Call of Duty and writing melodies. Like,
which Call of Duty was it? Black Ops.
It was Black Ops actually at the time. Yeah,
you were doing the zombies mode.
It was the what's the one with the fucking arrows? Like or like your it's arrow specific. There it's in Black Ops, and it's only arrow.
Wow,
driven.
I've never heard of this. We'll have to see if chat comes through.
It's real, dude. It's fucking real. They'll know what I'm talking about.
I sucked at that game.
But the melodies are very strong, and I think that's the like sort of the shot of like pure water to offset all of the Everclear going around.
That's
like
cool.
The ice cold water is. It's like, oh, we're gonna have some pop instincts on this as well. So I guess I always have been very curious as to how those clean melodies came about, because they're very natural, A big problem I have with a lot of modern metal bands is that when they arrive at the clean section, it feels like an obligation, like they're punching a time card. Like, all right, and now you will do the cleans. Whereas on Strangers Only, they kind of evolve naturally out of the rest of the song.
Thank you, man. That's definitely
no,
a challenge and a goal.
Sticks
You know
and
what I mean?
stones.
You don't want it to feel that way.
Derek,
What'd you say?
the Black Ops mode, Sticks and Stones, Zeppy.
Yeah, it's the Tom. They're right. Yes,
Zeppy's
exactly.
getting
It's
us with
Tom
that one.
Hawk. Yeah,
But we were
yeah,
talking about the melodies.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah.
remember that was definitely the challenge of trying to like find that identity. And it was the first time Derek was singing with our band too. So it was like a whole new thing, you know, because it was like if you go a year before that, you know, we had Sean Mikowski was one of the original founding members of our band. He was the person who was singing. So he wrote all his singing parts. So now 1 year later, we're writing this record and we have to come up with the singing parts and we're singing, you know. So it was all very new, you know.
Absolutely.
Dest says stop vaping mid-interview. Well, Derek's also vaping mid-interview, so I'm going to keep vaping.
I'll do it again, Jess.
You fucking right. Drop Dead LMB, though, says something fun. He said, it took me a shamefully long time to realize you guys weren't using a turntable, but rather had a magician for a guitarist. And that has reminded me of something really interesting. It's incredible to me that I don't hear more bands do the Tom Morello type guitar scratching. Like, why don't... Because it's only listening to Strangers Only that I hear another band doing it. And every time I listen to Strangers Only, I think to myself, why aren't more bands doing this? I'm going to assume that Tom Morello would have been an inspiration.
Oh, for sure. I think there's like, I think it can feel gimmicky. Like, I think even we went through phases with it. Like, Matt came up with it and we were super hyped. And we did it on the record, I think, on like 2 songs. And then we went through a period of playing that live where he was like, fuck that, I'm not doing that. Like, and he played some crazy solo thing instead, which was also cool. And then now I think it's
scratching is so cool.
Well, see, now it's come full circle. It's back around and scratching is back. Like, no, actually, it's sweet. Like, play it how we wrote it, you know? So I don't know. I don't know why and I also think it's like, it's such a signature thing from him that maybe it feels like you're, you know, like biting it too hard. But I feel like our music sounded so different that it didn't feel like a copy.
Well, it's funny because it's like, yes, when you hear the guitar scratching, you are immediately reminded of Tom Morello. But speaking personally, what I think of more when I hear it isn't just like Tom Morello and Rage Against the Machine. I think of all the other bands that never did it. I can't think of another band that attempted it. You're the only band that I can think of aside from Rage Against the Machine.
I'm sure there's some out there with all the crazy guitar stuff people are doing now. Who knows?
They must suck. Because I don't know.
I'm sure they're.
Well, something I will admit about Matt is that he is a very unique guitar player, man. Like he has his own eclectic style. The bands he listens to are never bands I would ever listen to.
Defroze.
The guy's kind of like
He's
fucking
around.
I don't know. The way his brain works is very unique. So,
do you have any particular?
This is low network. Being with, we good?
We're good.
Yeah, you're back.
Do you have any particular songs off that album that you gravitate towards the most?
I'd say Hot Soap. I mean, or like Kick Rocks, but Hot Soap being like, I think the first version of what we were going to like somewhat inevitably like continue growing with, because there was some like, you know, there's a heavy riff involvement, but then also like some of this like unreal kind of stuff, you know, like, you know, our next record where like we were building into more melodic and trying to go a bit more that direction. So I think that song means the most to me for like our whole discography, if you will. But other than that, I would say Kick Rocks just being a very fuck you song, like to me, like is a good representation of the album itself. So I guess I'm choosing 2.
Nick, do you have a personal?
I think Hot Soap's probably my favorite as well. I think that was because that was the first like melody that we wrote that stuck for the record. Because we tried a lot, man. I think Keep Alone, we probably tried like, I don't know, like 20 different parts. There were cleans in Spit Not Chewed at one point. We wrote so many choruses to that.
Yeah, dude.
We tried a bunch of different
Wow, I
stuff. Dude,
I can't even
we
think
played
of what
these
that
on.
would sound like.
It was like super.
Because it didn't work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
you're
there you
exactly
go.
right. Yeah, there's a reason why you
but
can't put it together.
the
Work.
instruments were different as well. Like there was like a chorus, so
There's like
like the
acoustic
hook.
guitars,
No,
mellotron, harpsichord.
That's right.
yeah,
That's right.
no, I think Hot Soap feels like I feel like that was the first one where I felt like we accomplished like a song that was like wasn't just in the genre we were in for so long, was like, oh, this feels like a song, you know, where it still was able to incorporate screaming but in this sort of like different way. And something we haven't touched about, I think probably like the biggest defining factor of that record is the drums. Because I mean the riffs too, but like so with metalcore especially, and with metal, right, like the drums, what we were used to was just you have a kick pattern that follows the guitar riff, and the snares are on the 2 and the 4, or the 1 wherever you put them, right? And it's like the drums are literally just cymbals and snares where they're supposed to go, and then the kicks just match the guitar riff, right? And there's like a couple different styles of beats, of course. Like there is, I love metalcore still. I'm to this day I've come back around. Like I don't want to come off jaded or anything like that. But at the time, that was just what was done, and we were like, we wanted beats, we wanted it to groove, you know.
Yeah, it was something I
And
was going to bring up earlier, but I'm happy to bring up now. I adore the way that the kicks bounce off the guitars. You know,
right,
there's that
like
swing in the guitar riffage. It bounces off each other. It's so motivating. It just moves.
well, like the drums are their own individual part. It's not just everyone's playing the what the guitar riff is playing, which there's a time and a place for that, and that's sick. But like his, I think, really like that's what makes those songs feel so different. Is you'll take a heavy riff or a part that is essentially like the breakdown part of the song, and he would play a beat, you know, his own individual beat that did, like obviously he would make it fit the riff, but it wasn't a carbon copy of whatever the rhythm pattern on the guitar is, right? So
By the
that
way,
to
Milk
us,
Rain just called you out, Nick. Are we watching The Sandlot in the background?
yeah, fuck yeah.
Nick's trying to get me
Oh, gee.
copyright
Let's
strike to hell. Nick's
It's-
trying to ruin my channel. No, I'm just kidding. I'm
you're
just
good.
kidding. That doesn't matter. It's
I
fine.
think you're fine. It's audio. As long as there's no audio, we're fine.
The scene in that, speaking of puke rock, the scene in that movie where they threw up all over the place at the carnival used to gross
There's a
me out
lot.
so bad as a kid.
There's a lot of it. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I didn't think about that. It's just what was on.
I didn't drink until I was 21. I think that movie is why. I was like, I don't want any part of that.
Yeah, you were scarred.
Speaking of
But that-
puking, what is puke rock?
Well, we just came up with it because we didn't feel like we fit anything else, and so we just made it up. I know, but we didn't see it that way at the time. I don't know. I mean,
Nobody ever does. Nobody ever does.
Right.
Morgan Lander of Kitty today gave an interview where she's like, we don't feel like new metal represents what we do anymore. And it's like, of course you don't. Of course.
well, it's only because I don't know. Because I feel like there were still metalcore elements of the band, you know, and I think I don't know. I don't know why we felt that way necessarily.
Puke rock to me feels like skate rock. Feels like skate punk is what it feels like.
I think we just kind of wanted our own thing. Like, I think it was a song name at one point, or a record name at one point.
Yeah, initially it was. That was the idea, right?
Yeah. And then it just became like we just wanted our own thing that we could like rep and, you know, like put on merch. And I don't know. I liked the idea of like almost like it's like a gang, you know, or like a club, you know, it's like something
Yeah,
that
it's
you
our
can-
own clique, right?
Well, and also like kind of fucking hate the band name, so it's like we want
What?
something cooler than the band name.
Isn't it
So-
like a YouTube reference?
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah, I took it from
Crazy you know that, but yeah, that's
yeah.
Yeah, Nick told
how
me.
it
I
happened,
said,
right, Nick? I mean,
it
it
was
wasn't me.
No, man, dude, I was 16. This is
No
my
way.
first band. That's
Mhm.
that's the name we came up with. That's what stuck. You gotta live with it now. It is what it is.
I'm not
It's not
talking shit
terrible. It
about it.
could
You
be-
were
it
the
could
one
be
talking
worse.
shit about it. You said you hated it. He
Yeah.
hates it, chat. He hates
It's
it.
okay. it could be worse. Like there, it could be worse, but it's not like the coolest name. You
Does
know?
the puke rock uh, descriptor come from the music video for Ayahuasca?
No, it was before that. It was before we ever filmed a video. It was before. I think it was before even the album came out. We were like,
I
oh,
think so too. Yeah,
this
it
will be
was
cool.
like
We'll
a
start saying this. You know?
yeah, yeah.
But did you take ayahuasca?
No,
Ayahuasca.
I haven't done it yet.
Not yet.
Where'd the name come from? Just cause.
I actually, I mean, I don't know how you feel, D, but I actually kind of really regret naming the song that because, um, well, like, I think Derek brought the name, and we liked the idea of like this crazy out there experience, but I wasn't really that familiar with it, and I had no idea it would be so popular. You know, I thought it would just be like this obscure reference that nobody would get, and it would just sound cool.
Yeah, now it's what
Um,
tech bros do to justify.
it has a
their
weird
evil.
They
connotation.
all do it now. Yeah, right. Like what the fuck? Like I did not see that coming. You know, everybody's doing it. Like
Yeah.
there's like I'm like a UFC and boxing guy. Like dude, these guys are going out to the desert and taking ayahuasca, and it's become more of a thing than I guess I would have ever assumed it
It's
would be.
fascinating to me how all these tech guys do ayahuasca, and the lesson they take from ayahuasca is like, I need to be more evil.
Hmm.
I must find a way to be more.
Well, it's supposed to
evil.
be like, I mean, like any psychedelic, right? It's supposed to be a very transformative, you know, ego death, spiritual
Yes,
type experience, you
yes.
know.
You're finding yourself. Right.
And I think with any of this stuff is it's like there's so much variation in like why people do it, what they bring to the table when they
Not
go
that
into
you've
this
done it.
experience. No, but I'm saying like
Yet
um
again.
no, but
Yet.
I think there's like I think there are people where it is extremely beneficial and it helps their lives, and I think there's people who probably do it for the wrong reasons, you know, maybe because it's a fad or something like that, which is an insane thing to think about with something like ayahuasca.
What
But
we'll all do it and then do a follow-up interview. We'll all
okay, cool.
do it and do an interview during that experience.
Good plan.
Done.
Okay, so this now we get to the next part of this interview that's so fascinating to me, because this is you're in a grand tradition of new metal bands that get to say this. The album didn't do so well.
Correct.
Yes, it's true.
What did you say, Derek?
You're
Is it
correct.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Despite it being the greatest new metal album of the 2010s. Actually, that's why it did so bad, because it's the greatest new metal album of the 2010s. Everyone was like, it's 2013. Fuck this shit. We're not.
Mm.
Did you take that hard?
Yes. Let's just not fuck around, dude. I remember the show we found out our first week sales, and we were all like heartbroken because
I
it was
think-
like we thought we were doing something cool, and then but then as time went on, we started to get this weird like band respect thing that started happening, like where like bands thought our shit was sick, but like maybe the fans weren't as excited because it wasn't what they hoped for. So then it was like more validated, you know, as time went on, like on, you know, just hearing it from people that we respected and stuff. And then when it turned into like, you know, like, hey, like, well, let's do like a vinyl and like, let's like, you know, do all this, like that wasn't our decision. It started to feel like it became much more of a thing than we hoped for that. But
So what were
we had already
those
kind of
first,
accepted that it
what were
wasn't
those
going
first
that
week
well.
sales?
Oh, I don't even remember.
They
Couple
weren't good.
thousand,
Dude.
I have no
they
idea.
weren't good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
I feel like there was just a lot of growing up that we had to do, and I think there was a little bit of like naivete when we first started because like when we first got signed, Rise was kind of a unique record label in the sense that they had like a very public facing brand image. You know, there's a lot of record labels, but not that many labels that like I feel like most bands aren't knowing every record label by name. Maybe they are now, but at the time didn't seem that way. And Rise's big thing was their YouTube channel. They had like 2 million subscribers or something like that, like at the time. Or maybe it was 1 million, I can't remember, but it was a lot. So we had this feeling when we first got signed and we put out our first music video I remember getting like 200,000 views or something like that in like the first month or whatever, which felt insane at the time, man. Like
It's a lot. It's a lot of views. It continues
dude,
to be a
in
lot.
in freaking 2011, 2012, and you're a local band, like you go from that to that, like it just felt like, it's like that whole fantasy that you feel like of like, oh, it's gonna, people are gonna know who you are, kind of a thing. So I think we had a like a little bit of inaccurate representation of how much work it actually takes to sell a record and to grow a band. And so I think that contributed a little bit to the sort of reality check that we got doing the next record. But
Because
I
it
think it was
did
all for the
not,
best.
because it didn't return the same YouTube.
Any of it, right?
Mhm.
Like the sales, the numbers, the views, all this sort of thing. And a lot of that I think was our fault. Like not on the label side. Like we didn't. I feel like we didn't have our identity figured out. We didn't have a cohesive image. There wasn't like it wasn't cleanly presented for people. Like we didn't do a music video for any of the songs off Strangers Only until like a year after the album came out.
Why's that?
Because we didn't have the money and they didn't
Yeah,
really
I figured,
financially. I mean,
yeah.
that was really what it came down
This is
to.
what
And
it
then they
is.
thought it was
Yeah.
a new song when that came out.
We did it
Well, they're
ourselves.
been
We
out
were
for a
like
year.
we're like, oh, let's just make our own video.
When you turned the record into Rise, were they psyched or were they?
I don't remember it being bad. They didn't say anything bad. I just feel like it was like, okay, cool. Like,
Bro, the email we got back was sounds good. Period.
really?
That's it.
I don't remember that.
2 words?
But I will say they turned around. I'm not like here to bash them or anything. They turned around as time went on, and it like started to feel like it was like actually
I gotta pick.
maybe something. Then it was like they were calling and excited. But at first, I don't think they knew what to do with it, and that's not on them like necessarily. Like we were on a label that already had a very specific sound and was pretty like like relegated to something direct, and then we were the assholes basically that decided that we weren't going to do that anymore. So that's not necessarily their fault. It's probably more ours than anybody's.
Yeah, I think they were just a little confused with it. Of like I said, like there wasn't. I don't think that we had a clear vision, and so I don't think it's fair to expect them to have some sort of clear vision for it.
Right.
So yeah, it was just kind of like I said, just a lot of growing pains through these times. I mean, like I was 20 years old when we made that record. My brother was 17, 18, Marshall, the drummer.
Mm.
We were young.
Well,
Yeah. Yep.
it's really good if that
Thanks, man.
is any consolation. It's like really, really, really good. Can we get some
Thanks.
really goods in chat? If anyone in chat also thinks Strangers Only is the masterpiece that I think it is, I want to hear some love right now. We need to show these guys the appreciation they deserve. But anyway, it fucking
There you go.
bombed, and Rise cut you loose, right?
No, so we wanted to leave because I think we wanted to do the next record independent. Or were we already talking to Spine Farm at the time?
Well, our feelings were a little hurt by the initial thing, and then but we were already kind of in talks with some other people, so we knew that we had alternative routes and we weren't stuck. And when you're obviously open-minded to something else, like it's much easier to make decisions for yourself because you're not completely controlled by one circumstance anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, if people don't know, so like when you sign a record deal, you'll sign for a certain number of albums in your contract. And the way it works is basically, obviously, generally speaking, the label can choose to, drop you or let you go kind of whenever they want. But it's basically up to them whether or not they want to, keep you on for your next record and the next record after that, based upon however many you signed for. So I think we signed for 3. So I think we would have owed one more record after Strangers Only. And we kind of, I feel like it was, it was kind of on both of our end. Like they didn't put up like a huge fight or anything to keep us, but I think we just said, we would like to leave. And then we went to another label for the next record.
Great. And before we get into it, we're going to take a small intermission so that we can all use our respective bathrooms. And then we're going to get right back into
Let's
that.
go.
All right. Give me 5. Briefly, nobody hang up the call. Nobody hang up the call. Okay. And Nick Giumenti just followed. Yo, shout out to Nick Giumenti. And we are back. And we don't need to hear that again. Look, we all got back at the same time. Aren't I good? Oh, I'm so good at this. Woo. All right.
What a pro.
It's all
Kirk.
Okay, so with the next record, which came a whole 4 years after Strangers Only, which is unreal, you guys get together and you said, look, we're really early. We're too early for the Limp Bizkit revival. Let's also be too early for the Deftones revival. I'm accurate on this, aren't I?
Yeah, kind of. Well, so it's funny you say that. So like, again, like with when we were discovering these bands, like when we had made Strangers Only, I had never listened to a single Deftones song a day in my life. Never heard of them, right? And then actually, I remember this. I remember, because like Moss to Flames was in the same studio as us, recording their album while we were making Strangers Only. And they're from Ohio as well, good friends. And I remember talking with somebody at the time, and they were talking about how good Deftones was. And I remember this conversation because that was new to me at the time. I was like, oh, I don't know who that band is. So then we kept writing after that record. We wrote a bunch throughout, like 2014, 2015. And that was kind of when I went through my introductory phase to Deftones of like getting really into them, was kind of that era. And then we were gonna release a record on our own independently, and then that never happened. And then the record that followed is the one you're talking about, Unreal, that came out on Spine Farm. So I think at that point I was kind of like, it's like obviously still a fan, but not like currently super obsessed with Deftones. But there's definitely way more of that, like melodic driven,
right? Songs get a
mood-driven,
little slower,
melody driven,
a little more melody based. Derek, were you always a big Deftones guy?
No, I mean honestly, similar. My best friend in that band, Eli, introduced me. I think Diamond Eyes came out around that time ish, and he was obsessed with it.
Yeah,
And he actually introduced me to Deftones as well. It was kind of the same thing, same time frame. So it wasn't. I wasn't a huge fan previously. I think the only band that I could argue had any influence on that was new metal, if you will, was Incubus. They're not even really that anymore. You know what I mean? But like they're like my favorite band of all time. You know,
are?
So fuck yeah,
Oh,
that's my
so
number
great.
one still.
Okay,
it has been for like 12 years.
I want to hear your top 3 favorite Incubus albums in a row. Go 1, 2, 3.
Well, I would say Make Yourself definitely is my first. Science would be my second.
Fair.
And then fuck, dude. I'm gonna throw a random curveball at you. I liked 8, dude. I liked that record.
Really?
I liked it, dude. I know, I get it, but I also it's kind of similar.
No.
To, like,
whoa,
I respect Diamond Eyes, man. Like people talk shit on that record, but like, dude, it sounds incredible.
Okay, couple things.
They were doing what they wanted to do at the time. Like,
nobody,
dude, I'm about it.
Nobody talks shit on Diamond Eyes.
He's gonna blow a gasket, dude.
Nobody talks shit on Diamond Eyes. That never happens. However, 8 by Incubus,
Okay.
8 by Incubus, I've never heard anyone go to bat for ever, and now I've really got to circle back and check that one out again. I love.
I'll
this
do it again.
cosign. But this is interesting. This is really cool to me. So it's like Nick's into Deftones, Derek's into Incubus, and you end up with this record it's also so brilliant, but it's a little slow. It's a little more melodic, and I just love to hear more about the production process of this album.
For sure, man. I will say for me, I was into Deftones, but I don't think that was my big influence for that record. Like I said, so I was into Deftones maybe like a couple years before we did that record. The band I was obsessed with when we made Unreal was Oasis.
Oasis?
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. You
Yep.
see it in the fucking video, man. That's all I do is I just fucking copy the people that I think are cool, man.
Which he turned me on to that shit too, dude. Like I was grateful for you, Nick, with Nirvana and Oasis. Because I wouldn't have given them the level of respect I should have without you basically pushing it so fucking hard. I'm being so obsessed.
I'm such a fan. Yeah, I'm such a fan, man. And
Nick, are you gonna go see Oasis in September?
Say again?
Are you gonna see Oasis in September?
Oh fuck yeah, man! They just played that reunion show. I know it kind of drowned out from Ozzy's last show, which was incredible. I was
so sick.
No, I mean I'm not saying that they didn't have a successful show. Their show was fucking massive. But I just mean from what I saw, like people sharing and posting online, everyone was talking about the Ozzy show. but they had their reunion show. I'm sure it was fucking awesome. And yeah, man, I have to look at the dates and see what makes sense for me.
What is
but
your
I would love to see it.
favorite Oasis deep cut? So not a single.
Deep cut? Hmm. The first one that comes to mind is Cast No Shadow, but I'm sure I have others. Um,
Good one.
Deep cut. Sad Song is another one I really like.
Don't know that one.
Hmm. I like a lot of the singles. The can't think of the
I
name.
like the song Cast No Shadow because Noel makes the harmony sound like the lead. The song sounds like it has two lead vocals because
Right.
the harmony
Yeah.
is so strong.
Yeah, dude, their note choice I think is what draws me to them because like on paper they're like the most basic songs, right? The same with Nirvana,
G,
right? Like on
D,
paper
C,
you're like
E.
right, they're all open chords, you know what I mean? Like your basic, I mean they throw some, some sus and diminish and that kind of thing, but generally they're just basic chords, but it's just they have this way of like there's this intensity and this darkness and this sadness in these songs that are basically, Brit pop rock songs.
Right.
And I don't know, it just drives me. But Supersonic, that was the song where I was like, oh, I fucking love this band.
That is the song to listen to when
Great
you
song.
need to get some confidence back. When you need to get
Dude,
some.
like that riff is so fucking hard for being in standard and like not trying to be heavy. That verse riff is so heavy.
So what I'm hearing though with Unreal, were you under some pressure to deliver after the and I'm using the biggest air quotes I could possibly use, after the failure of Strangers Only?
I don't think so. Like we put ourselves
No.
under pressure, but I don't think
I did put Nick under some pressure because I said I wanted to not sing anymore like a week before the record was going to be recorded, which was my bad. Like it was like I felt like him because he sang everything on that record. Like,
Really?
and I think I thought at the time it felt more pure and more like like it all blended better, and his voice made the most sense. Like it wasn't that I was necessarily like so done. It was more or less like I understood that, like I was kind of creating something else, and like for a real maturity level, like that we were trying to elevate to. In my mind, it made more sense for it to be Nick, and I do think, like that we were right in making that decision. But
well, I would
it was a lot of pressure to just put on Nick to be like, hey, by the way, man, I don't really want to sing anymore. So like,
Well,
Go.
yeah, to be fair though, like I empathize with Derek in the sense of like he joined this band and then had to sing somebody else's parts for like a whole year, a whole bunch of tours and stuff because it was
and
like,
not a singer. I'm never a
Right.
singer. I've
But the
never
singing
sang.
is so
I don't-
good.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
Because
that's
it
what I'm
was
telling him.
completely, like on the fly almost. Like it wasn't. I never considered myself a singer. I was a guitar player. I joined the band to play guitar, not to sing and play guitar. So then that whole To Create a Cure experience was like a little eye opening, and then it became like, this is what we're going to do for Strangers Only. But then as Unreal was being, written, it felt more appropriate for us going for a more mature sound, like to utilize Nick. I mean, he did a better job than I did on that front. Like,
I think it like took,
feeling
I think
together.
I think it took you a while to kind of like to fall in love with it or to like find where it resonated for you. Because I would say like now I feel like you're a better singer than you've ever been, and I feel like you do have that identity now. His solo stuff's really good, and he's working on it.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
So
Yeah.
I feel like
yeah.
I feel like it was one of those things where it's like, you have to come to it where on your own terms when you want to. You know what I mean? Like especially I think with music in general, but especially with vocals and your voice, like if you don't feel it, if it's not genuine or if it's not from the heart, it's really, really hard to fake it. And I think that
Derek's
gets
singing
involved.
is amazing. Every
No, I know.
time I
Thank
feel
you, bro.
like I have my feet on the ground with Strangers Only, there's always that sung hook that comes through and like feels like this shot of adrenaline to a machine that was already at the red line. It's like, wait a minute, we can actually go even beyond this. I mean, the singing, the melodic hooks on Strangers Only are extraordinary because they're not forced at all. They're not like crowbarred into the song. They just arc out of what was happening already. So this questioning of identity and stuff, I'm not fucking with this at all. The singing is so critical to that record. Derek,
Yo,
apologize.
thank you.
I want you to apologize to yourself right now.
Well, the thing is like Nick has brought it up also, like, and, after Unreal especially, it was very much like, man, like, if we can find a way to where we can do this together, basically, like, because there was an element, exactly. There was an element to that felt good, So yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm excited about that because to Nick's point, like I kind of found it on my own afterward, but it felt very forced initially just because like the singer was leaving and moving on. Right. And it was like, well, we got to do something, and we found a route. We made it work, but I think it did take me figuring it out for myself, like, and writing myself, like, because Nick was writing the majority of the melodies as well. And when you're singing somebody else's stuff, like, and not confident as a singer, it does change things, and then when you find your own voice, it changes things again, so I think, at this point I finally found it, and I think we're going to utilize it as best we can moving forward.
Thank Christ. With Unreal, though, with the release of Unreal, this is good. I had to squash this beef right here.
My man.
That's the best response to it.
I had to squash this beef because I didn't realize Derek would come on this insecure about the singing. I was like, whoa, that's crazy.
Well, I mean,
crazy.
At the time, it felt like a job more than a passion, and then it's because it's become more of a passion than a job. I think it's like changed for me.
You are
like,
the Noel Gallagher to Nick's Liam.
Yes.
I need you, D.
Yes.
You feel me?
Well, I need Liam, so there's no,
I'm more excited about the My Ticket Home reunion than the Oasis reunion. I guess I'm just speaking for myself, but I am.
Thanks, dude.
Telling you.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
So what was the reception to Unreal like?
Kind of the same, I guess. I don't
Similar.
know.
Yeah, similar.
It was a bunch of people being like, no, Deftones wave isn't happening yet. Sorry, guys. You're early again.
4 years went by, and by then, Strangers Only was cool. And it's like, what the fuck happened to that? And it's like, well, you hated that at first. So,
yeah, I think
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think people were frustrated that it wasn't as heavy off the rip. And I think we chose poor singles, maybe, now that I think about it.
Hyperreal? Amazing. What?
No, I'm not, but I'm not saying like that the song's not good, but like to ease people into the transition, like we should have done Flypaper first. That's what I think. Like,
I want to get some comments from this one. Chat room, if you're in here, I want to hear what the preference is. Strangers Only versus Unreal. Which album do you guys prefer? But back to what we were talking about here. So was the reception? It sounds like the reception was just more of the same.
Well, I've said it before, and it's what I think of now. Where I feel I empathize with anyone who's like a fan of our band, because I was talking to my friend Luca about this today, where it's like, dude, we've been a band for all this time, and we've essentially only put out like 3 albums, like literally so much time between the records, and then we'll switch our style up between the records, and it's like, it's so fucking hard to follow. Like the band does one thing, and then all this time goes by, and then they sound different on the next record. Like it's exhausting. Like you don't know what you're gonna get, So I feel bad just kind of because you kind of like, you're trusting people and you're hoping that they'll give it a chance. Be like, I just, there's give it a chance. There's good shit in here. But if it's not what they're used to, and it's a fine line with music where obviously if you make the same thing over and over, you can disappoint people that way. If you switch the sound up too drastically, you can alienate the fans that you already have. And I think it's just a testament to our immaturity that we just did whatever we wanted.
Well, we're getting a lot of Unreal love in the comments. So a little later in this stream, I'm going to turn over to the chat room for some questions because I was not equipped to do the Unreal. I still am not sure if I've actually finished the album.
Don't worry about it, brother.
I'm worried. No, I'm fucking worried about it. You'd think I would have been up to date on that one, but I'm just such a huge Strangers Only guy. No offense to anyone. But well, so did My Ticket Home officially break up?
No,
Nah.
no. We just all had like personal lives, and I think it was kind of like, it was what? It would have been Unreal was 2017, and we toured through 2018. I think 2018 was our last show. And then it was kind of like you're getting to that age where you're like, your late 20s, and there's pressure on you to fucking grow up and to, have a normal life or normal job or whatever it is. And it just kind of became clear to us that the touring consistently wasn't, sustainable for all of us. Guys, people start getting married, people start getting careers, people start having kids, So I think we all just kind of, we never really discussed it. I don't think, did we, Derek? But it was just
Not
kind of like,
officially. It was just kind of it was an obvious thing that was happening with all of us, I think.
yeah. I think each of us had like some self-discovery that we had to go on, you know what I mean? And kind of like
A journey.
find out your identity outside of the band and kind of grow up a little bit. And I think that's what we all did in our own way. And then now to be able to come back to music where it's just by choice because it's what you want, and to do it for the fun is like feels so fucking good, man. Like,
were you guys
it's a
putting
blessing.
My Ticket Home on your resumes?
No.
No.
No, it doesn't apply.
Wait, so how do you explain the 5-8 year gap in work experience?
You don't, and you kill it in the interview. That's your
you
literal
really can.
only option. Like, it's all you got.
I want to know
Like,
more about this. Hold on. So
Derek would know more than me, so I never
Derek,
really had.
by the way, for
I really-
context, Derek currently works at a car dealership. He works at a Volvo dealership. How did you get the job without being able to mention the band?
Okay, well, insane that you know that I work at a car dealership. That's fucking wild.
Do you actually work at a car dealership?
It's not Volvo, but yeah. Wow.
I thought you guys
completely-
talked
no,
before.
Do I just
totally
walk
guessed.
like this?
I totally
Is that
guessed.
what this is? I guess.
I totally
Apparently
guessed.
I just come off that way.
Completely
Yeah, no, I'm a
guessed at it.
sales and
Bro, you
finance
nailed it.
manager at an auto mall, bro. Yeah.
So fucking
That's what I
funny.
do for a living, man. Yeah, that is
He's sitting over there.
crazy.
He's sitting over there. He's like, what the hell?
I was confused. Yeah, I was
It's a
fucking
professional.
confused,
It's
but
a professional interview, dude. This is
Literally what I
comes
do.
Wait,
prepared.
Yeah,
so
no.
what dealership? What kind of vehicles are we moving over there, Derek?
They're Toyotas, Hondas, Nissans, Fords. This feels
He's
weird.
underselling. It's very fucking nice. He's underselling.
It's a big, yeah, it's
too.
like an
Yeah.
auto mall or whatever. But yeah, like and I started there after the band, and it was just a kind of like a natural transition. Kind of, these guys are a little bit, a little grungy, a little like fucking, so it felt pretty familiar. Lots of cuss words, lots of partying. It was similar to the tour world, and like to me, I felt a familiarity. So yeah,
Are you straight
I feel like it helps
commission
that
or are you
there's-
salary?
I'm salary now. Yeah.
Salary now.
Took a while though. Took a while.
And
I feel like it helps where kind of some of the stigma with having a bunch of tattoos, some piercing. I feel like that's kind of gone away a little bit. A lot of the corporate world is a lot more accepting than they used to be, so I think that's helpful.
but you
Yeah, I
just
was
don't
wearing,
mention the band at all. It's like, okay, so from 2012 to 2018, you didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really? You didn't learn like
Again.
good marketing strategies or
Killing the interviews, man. That's all you got. Because to me, like, hey, man, I was in like a band for, it doesn't apply as much as you would assume for, a job, I guess. I would like to think it would, but
so you just
I-
gotta you're just
It,
up
does,
in the
it
interview
definitely
and you're like,
does. I mean, you obviously you learn all sorts of skills that are like hard to put on paper, but it definitely does. I mean, dude, like we grew up so much during that time where you're, especially at that age where it's like it's such a shock of like unlimited freedom, where obviously like you have a schedule, you have to be at a certain place at a certain time, but like outside of that, there's fucking no adults around. You know what I mean? It's literally just up to you guys to handle it on the road. And then obviously the challenges that come along with the road of, all the sorts of logistics and making ends meet when you don't have a lot of money, or when things break down, or, handling, trouble when it comes your way, whatever it is. So there's definitely a lot of that you go through, but stuff that's
Yeah,
hard to
because
put
Nick,
on a
what is your
resume.
Nick? Could you do us a favor, actually, Nick? Can you turn your camera off?
My camera off?
Turn your camera off real quick.
Why?
Keep the audio. I'm gonna turn the camera off.
Okay.
Fuck. We were Nick. Turn your fucking camera back on. We were
What'd I
talking
do?
about Nick. Nick has like headshots. Nick has like very professional headshots, and he has
You
his
wanted to
headshots
see
as
the
his
photo.
Zoom
Let's
icon.
go.
Nick just caught a lucky break with that one. I was gonna show you all Nick's headshots. I might pull it up elsewhere.
I think the Gmail. I think it's my. Is it like me in the white shirt? I think
It's
that's
you
my
in the white
Instagram.
shirt for sure.
Down, your hair's flowing like a fucking
I think that's my
sexy guy.
Instagram.
We were
photo,
talking.
dude.
We were
Yeah.
saying that you look like a James Bond villain.
Yeah, straight
I got it.
007 shit. Bro.
I'm about to put you on blast, bro.
Go
I found
for
it
it,
right here. I
man.
found it right
If
here.
it's, I feel like that's my Instagram.
Dude,
picture.
Model Mayhem. He's on Model Mayhem. Chat. Look at this handsome devil. Yo. Look. Yo. So here's what right? So hold on. Is this man
So hot.
James Bond or is he a James Bond villain? Because does he not look like he's about to come sell you something you don't need and also kill you? This man is a professional. I'm gonna put that over there.
He'll close the deal.
So I feel like Nick has had a real professional career.
I would say
this.
the opposite. Where I didn't go into the corporate world. I kind of stayed. So like my job right now is I'm a freelance photographer and videographer. So I kind of like there's like a lot of things that I was interested in that were kind of like ancillary to being in a band, but they're close to it. So like I was always into filmmaking and music videos and photography and graphic design and shit like that, and all these sort of stuff that you learn from being in a band over the years. So I kind of
But you are exceptionally attractive. We're getting a lot of agreement with this in chat. Has that been a burden for you being
Big
so
sexy
sexy?
with glasses.
He's saying it's not been a burden for him.
I didn't
being
hear what
this
you
sexy.
said. No, thank you. I don't know what to say to that.
I'm sorry. But you've stayed in you're saying you stayed in like a photography, videography world?
Well, I think I had like the hardest time like letting go of music, or at least my identity as music. So like this would have been 2018. So like right around the time the band was splitting up was like a hard time for like my personal life and my family. My mom got sick, and I just remember feeling like I had so much frustration with like there wasn't an outlet with MTH. We weren't really doing anything, and I just felt like I felt like I was leaving too much on the table if I was to like really walk away from making music. So I started another project with a good friend of mine, Nick. It's called Head Cave. It's like more like technical, modern technical metal, and so I think that was part of the feeling where I wanted to stay in the creative space. I think when you've spent a long time like as your own boss, being in a band, to switch to the more structured corporate life is hard. I mean, Derek, you probably know that more about that than me, but it felt I don't know. I felt like I wanted to pursue these other things that I also had a passion for, and so I think like the visual side of things has always been I think like right there neck and neck with music. Like if I have to choose, music is the one I love the most, but like same side of that coin is visuals for me.
And you did move to Los Angeles. And chat, I know he moved to Los Angeles because I see his microwave. It's the exact same microwave I had. I think every Los Angeles landlord bought their microwaves all at one time.
I'm in Long Beach, so it could carry all the way down here,
Which is further away from LA as you guys might think it is.
Yes.
You moved to LA to chase the visual photography artistic dream?
I didn't have like a plan as such. So I was in Nashville for a couple years. I was doing audio engineering, in Nashville. Same type of thing where I love making records and I love making, controlling the way things sound. That's to me, that's just a big part of it, is writing the music and then obviously how it's presented. So went to audio engineering school at this really great studio in Nashville, and I was really into that. But I think what I learned mostly from that is I didn't want to be an audio engineer. I just wanted to make my shit sound better. So I was like, okay, well, that's not gonna be the career. And then I moved to LA, well, Long Beach, but this area. When I was doing music with Nick from Head Cave, and I was like, well, you know, if I'm gonna live somewhere, I'd like to live, beautiful weather and by the beach. So can't complain.
He wanted to live closer to me, chat. He wanted to live.
That's all it was.
Wanted to live.
It was destiny.
It was destiny.
Yeah.
We brought together. In fact, a crazy ass moment in Holiday Kirk history. I did my first ever new metal night in I think like 2023, and I brought Nick out to do Spit Not Chewed.
That was the first one.
That was the first one I ever did. I'd never done a show.
Dude, I thought I was walking into a fucking
No. I had never
tradition.
even DJ'd in front of a crowd before.
You're fucking kidding me, dude.
No, never. And Nick definitely made a dream come true happen right there.
Likewise, man. I thought it was fucking sick. I thought I was walking into
sick.
I thought I was
Dude.
walking into the coolest scene. Like, this is where everybody.
You
fucking
were.
goes. Well, I know, but I was like this is a regular thing, bro.
No,
like,
never.
Every third Friday, this is where the place to be.
Never had done that before. And I don't know how many people. I remember one person during the song stage diving. I don't know if anyone caught him, but I do remember at least one person doing a little stage dive. And but it was like, it was one of those things where it was like, is this happening right now? Is this actually happening right now? I'm like pinching myself.
It was fucking fun, man. It was very, very cool. I'm glad I found the video. I'll have to shout out that person on Instagram.
Yeah. I don't have any video of it. He had video of it, but I think that we sort of like scooped my ticket home up on the way of this new metal revival journey. Nick, did you feel any sort of inspiration, motivation, getting recognition like that again?
Dude, absolutely. I think you were probably one of the first instances where I realized that people still cared about that album, or that album had because like we said, it wasn't like a big deal when it came out. And then I feel like it kind of achieved like a little bit of a cult status among certain people, which I think is really, really cool. And I'm super grateful for all the kind words that people have been, sharing with the band lately. And when they talk about that album, it makes me feel good about what we did. And I think the way you presented that perspective when we were talking, the last time we did an interview, definitely the first time I heard it, like from somebody, one-on-one. For sure.
It means a lot to me, man. It's such a good album. Strangers
Thanks,
Only.
bro.
Strangers
Thanks,
Only is
brother.
one of the 20 greatest. Is one of the 20 greatest new metal albums ever made. It is so fucking good. Every time I listen to it out in public, I feel like a danger to society. I want to just start punching people. It's a scary. It's a terrifying.
If I can ask, what are the other albums on the 20?
Okay.
You don't have to. I mean, that's a lot of albums. You don't.
No.
Have to
Believe
give
me, I know these. I know these like no problem.
I don't need to know all 20. I guess.
So the other
like,
albums in the only other album from the 2010s that I would put in the 20 greatest new metal albums of all time would be.
I'm asking for a couple reasons. One, I'm just curious of what your favorites are, like what you like. But then I also feel like there's probably some on there I haven't heard. That's gonna be cool shit.
Well, the only peer of yours that I would include in that top 20 is I Let It In and It Took Everything by Loathe.
Oh, dude, yeah.
That's the only other
Big
record of that era that I would consider that good. But when Loathe put that album out, they were received. They had so much acclaim. People were so excited to hear that sound recognized. And the thing that endears me to Strangers Only isn't simply the quality of the album, which is quite significant. It's that you were fucking hated for it. You were rejected. It wasn't a cool thing to do at all. You had to really suffer for that passion.
Well, not that was our plan, but read your T-shirt. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of one of those things. Like we were obviously, and again, like I think where we were at the time as a band and the label we were on, I think all of those things were, a compilation for that, but ultimately,
Oh,
just
I'll
because we
just
didn't know
say
what
it,
the fuck we
guys.
were doing,
Hold on,
and
I'll
we
just
ended
say.
up doing that.
Look, I'll just say it. You were not allowed. You were not supposed to be doing new metal at the time. That was like the complete opposite of acceptable to be
Faux
doing.
pas.
Yeah, like I said, man, that was fucking like way over my head. Like I didn't even
Same.
have any concept
Same.
of that at
I
all.
was bumping Limp Bizkit. It
Yeah,
But
was.
that's
man, I was like,
why.
this is-
I never
That's
thought twice
why.
about it. Like,
That's why it is a masterpiece. Is because you genuinely liked the music. You
Yeah,
didn't.
man.
You
Yeah,
didn't go into it with an ironic appreciation.
Right.
You authentically appreciated the music.
Right.
It wouldn't.
man,
it
for sure.
wouldn't be what it is if you didn't authentically love those influences.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
I agree.
Yeah, so I'm curious who else is on this list.
Jesus Christ! So the
You don't have
number
to give
one.
me the whole you don't have to give me the whole
Oh, I'll give it to you. No. Now you are going
We're
to
here
get it
now.
now. So the
I
number
feel like
one.
I'm about to get
the
fucking
number
educated,
one,
man.
The number one greatest new metal album of all time is Slipknot by Slipknot.
Great. See, we agree.
Number
It's
one.
a great choice.
We
Number
agree.
two, Korn, self-titled.
Good choice as well.
Number three,
Yep.
The War of Art by American Head Charge.
See, look at this. Look. Never heard it.
See, everyone's getting educated right now. Number four is
Right?
White
I'm writing
Pony.
these down.
Number five is Hybrid Theory. Number six is Iowa. I got to pull it up now. Thank you, Riv, for posting this.
Damn, you know it by heart.
Almost. I had to pull it up right now. Number 6 is Iowa. Number 7 is Significant Other. Number 8 is Episode 2, Medicine Cake by Playmo.
See?
Number 9
I've
is
heard
Around the
of
Fur
them.
by
Yeah, I'll write that
Deftones.
shit down.
Number 10 is Toxicity. Number 11 is Skeletons by Nothing Face.
See?
Number 12 is Life is Peachy by Korn.
You're gonna have to. I'm just gonna get the link later.
You're going to have to get it. Number 13 is Get Some by Snot. Number 14 is Loathe.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
We're big Snot fans.
Ah,
Big time. That record was fucking.
Even before I said it, I was like,
unstoppable.
how has it not come up? How has it not come up?
Yeah.
Big Snot fans.
How
yeah.
long have you guys been big fans of Snot?
During Strangers Only, we found
That
them.
was Strangers Only. Yeah, that was definitely
Ah!
Strangers Only.
Ah!
Yeah.
Every
But it was
the
mid,
pieces
it was
are
midway
coming
through writing that
together.
record. It was midway
Yeah.
through writing that record. I think. I feel like Head Change is like the first song where it was like a little bit of like the Snot influence trying to.
It's
That
a
song has
fu-
like a chiller bit, but like there's a little bit of the like the 2/4 whole step in the riff is a little bit of the Snot inspired type thing.
It's such an interesting album to discover because you're like, oh, I didn't know you could do 90s hardcore and new metal at the same time.
Yep.
I didn't realize anyone
Well,
was
and
doing it.
the thing I don't know if we took it from them, but like the use of wah, like a wah pedal.
Right.
There's a couple sections where there's a lot of wah on the guitar riffs, which was like no metalcore band was using wah. Like that was completely out of left field, and they had it in that like they have that funky, like backbeat sort of groove, and obviously they use the wah on like a little bit of cleaner parts, which we didn't really do as much. But would you say the wah came from that?
I think so. I mean,
I'm
that
trying to
would
think
make
of why we would have
sense.
started doing it.
That and a lot of the. I honestly think that Marshall taking the hip hop beat approach was relative to that record too.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, the beats
'cause
are
it
fucking
wasn't,
good on that
that
record.
Biscuit, going more in that.
You
kind
love to
of
hear it.
just-
Chat,
Yeah.
if you love to hear it, drop a yes in chat right now. Speaking of things in chat, we are about to catch up to the modern era, to the present day. So if you have questions for Nick and Derek of My Ticket Home, I want to see those questions reflected in chat. But before we get too lost in the retrospective sauce, I want to talk about Urethane. I want to talk about Tear Joint. Holy fucking shit, these are some good songs. I mean,
Thanks, man.
Thank
it's
you.
like a day hasn't passed, a minute hasn't passed, and in my opinion, I think you're picking up where you left off with Strangers Only. They have that in the red energy, full tilt, passion. Talk a little bit about those songs. What was it like to write and record those?
Well, first of all, thank you very much, man. That means a lot to hear you say so, because I was very curious what people were gonna feel with the new stuff. But like I said, it's us coming back to it from the perspective of just that it's something we want to do, So it feels Honestly, it feels very free. It feels like there's no pressure of expectations of a scene or pressure of us comparing ourselves too much to other bands, where it just feels like we can make music that we want to make, which is kind of how we've always approached it. But just doing everything completely 100% independent, it just feels like fully free, which is the best feeling. So that's how we've been doing it, where each guy has their own home studio. We get together, every so often when we can, but a lot of it is just everybody, writing riffs, writing beats, writing vocals back and forth. We send them to each other on Dropbox, and
Really?
we get on the phone and we hash it out.
Oh, that's interesting because the songs do sound very organic.
Good. That's the goal. Yeah. For
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
no, I appreciate
Yeah.
hearing that. I mean, it is, this is a very different way of writing than we've ever done. Like there's
Yep.
2 records that are out and 2 records that aren't, that we all wrote in a basement together, like, and then
Yeah.
now what we're doing currently is completely different, from what we're used to.
I
Yeah.
had actually forgotten to ask this earlier. With Strangers Only, did you record as a band?
Yeah.
Not live, like not in one take.
Were
So
they
like,
recorded?
Oh.
Were they recorded to a click?
yes.
Pretty loose click.
Yeah. Yeah, they were. I think every record we've done was to a click. So Strangers Only was like we did we were in the studio for 10 days. It was quick. So we did um like the first couple days we did like a jam through of every single song, and then we went over the songs with Will, who was the producer for the record. He gave us a couple notes here and there, really minor, change a riff, cut a chorus, this type of thing.
It's pretty much getting rid of shit
Yeah,
mostly. Like,
we
hey,
had
cut
we
that
basically
too much.
we basically had like 2 or 3 days with Will, and then like Monster Flames came in the studio and he was working with them. So we worked with Randy LaBeouf, and he tracked our
The
whole
man.
record and was basically the full-time producer of working with him, who's an amazing guy, amazing engineer. He's making some killer records right now.
He's killing it, dude.
Love
Guys
the
are
dude to
rad.
death. Yeah. So
Okay,
that
but it
super
was
fast.
recorded. It was recorded separately to a click.
Yeah, so it's like you do all the drums, then you do all the bass guitars, then you do all the vocals. Like very, like drums first, and then you build everything on top of it.
Kept it pretty.
Same way we
but
did Unreal.
It came
Same
out
thing.
really groovy.
We had to. I think we kind of had to. We had to kind of fight for that a little bit, where their standards of how they were making records was very like edited and to the grid, and like they playing very perfectly. Which
I
is
hate-
fine. I
which
think there's a
hate.
time
No,
and a
it's
place
not
for that.
fine. I hate it. I hate that so much. Don't do that.
There's a time and a place for it, but we
No, there's not.
we
What's
didn't
the time?
want that.
What's the place? There's never a time and a place
Yes,
for it.
we didn't want that. So I think it was, us kind of like, pushing against that of like we wanted stuff to be a little bit looser and sloppier.
I'll tell you
But
what.
I think it made for a balance. You know what I mean?
Most
'Cause I think the
episodes of
record-
this show is like me taking submissions of new music, reviewing new music, and I can always tell when your drums are quantitized.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
when your drums are quantitized, I don't like your song. It's like
I understand that. I think it
I
I
get
think
it.
there's like a
Yeah.
line where it's like obviously you want stuff to be impressive and you want it to be tight. And it's just purely up to artistic discretion, because it's like unless you're cutting everything live top to bottom, you're doing some level of editing. It just is. If you're doing multiple takes, if you're splicing takes, that's editing. If you're tuning the vocals, that's editing.
I
Like
don't
all
care.
this
Just
stuff-
don't quantize the drums. Just
Right.
don't quantize.
Yeah, it's all personal preference, and I agree. Not feeling the groove is a big issue, and even the same thing when we did Unreal. The producer Fred Archambault, who did that record, is an amazing producer, and he kind of had the same discussion. I remember we cut the first song. We did the drums for the first song, and he was like, "All right, you guys take 5. Let me do like just a quick rough edit or whatever it is." And I remember, he and I talking afterwards, and he was like, "Man, I really think we should do like less drum editing on this record." He was like, "I did, kind of like what the standard is, what I've done on some other records," and he's like, "I feel like we're taking the life out of it." And I was like, I know Marshall and I felt the same way. We're like, "Man, go as natural as you're comfortable with, because that's how we want it to feel."
Please.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting some questions filtering, and I'm going to start with my man's Wizard. How did the cover of "We're in This Together" by Nine Inch Nails come about? Is there a reason you covered that specific song?
We we're gonna do there was like an opportunity. There was an opportunity to be on like a compilation for, was it Metal Injection, Derek? Who was it? It was some European.
One of them, yeah, like
Was it Kerrang?
something.
I can't remember who it was. It
Oh.
was some one of the European, metal news outlets. They were doing like kind of like a Punk Goes whatever, you know what I mean, like a compilation of, we want people to cover either, was it 90 songs or 2000 songs? I can't remember.
Yeah, that
You know,
vibe.
so it was a little bit of like a career opportunity. Somebody brought that to us, was like, "Hey, do you guys want to do this?" And that's an easy no-brainer of like, well, that's all the music we listen to anyways. So yeah, that'd be sick. And I think it was either between a Filter song or that song.
Ah,
We did
filter
a snot
song? What
too.
filter song?
We had a fucking snot song option. It
Wah!
was one of them. We literally had learned those 3 songs.
Yeah.
and
Wait, what was the
decided-
filter song?
I think it was gonna be "Hey Man, Nice Shot," probably, right?
Yeah, nice shot.
I
Just
mean,
classic.
but and there's so many better Filter songs. Like,
I'm a
big Filter fan.
huge filter.
Big
fan.
Filter fan. So like I love the record The Amalgamalt. Like I
Oh!
love that record by them.
Bro, when I had Richard Patrick on our podcast, we basically talked about the Amalgamate the whole time. Like,
It's the fuck, dude.
It
The
is
way that
fucking
record
on your
sounds,
podcast also.
huge.
the way that record sounds is fucking, to this day, I love the way that it sounds, man. It's so fucking deep.
A
The
total
low end.
lost classic.
Yeah.
And
awesome
now I
record.
need you guys to go cover My Long Walk to Jail by Filter. I need you guys to
Great
do
song,
it.
bro.
I need you guys to do it right now. We're gonna continue the podcast, but you guys are gonna start tracking it.
I'll get in the booth, dude.
During the
I'll get in the
podcast.
booth right now.
All right.
Here's a good question, because I didn't know this ever existed. What happened to the instrumental version of Strangers Only? It was available on iTunes, but I don't see it anymore.
Dude, I had this conversation today. So we put it up, and Nick did a very cool inverted cover. It was all like, everything was going fine, and people were excited about it. But because of copyright infringement, it was no longer allowed to be available.
Well, so I did that thing where I uploaded it to our YouTube channel, which is like kind of a no-no. Because so if people don't know, when a record label pays for you to make an album, they own the audio recordings, right? You don't own it, they own it. So it's split into 2 different categories. Generally, there's what's called the publishing, which is the songwriting, and then there's the master, which is the audio recording. So like, we were lucky enough that we kept all our own publishing our whole career. So like, if we were to go re-record those songs, we would own them and we could release them and do whatever we wanted. But those actual recordings that the label paid for, they own. So when we put those on our YouTube channel, instrumentally even, they own the instrumentals as well. So I think they took them down. I don't know. I don't even know if it was their choice. It was just like, there's automated systems that just detect and they just take it down. I don't know that it was on iTunes though. If it was ever on iTunes, that must have been them, because I couldn't have done that.
Here's an interesting one. I'm gonna read it because I don't know the context at all. Ask about their scrapped album. Will they release it after new album? What scrapped album?
They do know. Yes. First of all, the answer is yes. I'm always going to say things that I want to happen.
Wait. What is this scrapped album? I don't know the context to this.
Well, there's 2 for the record. But it was basically the record that we wrote in between Strangers Only and Unreal. And we kind of did ourselves a disservice by playing some of those songs live. Not because we were excited and we wanted to play them, but then there were videos online of songs that don't exist. And so grateful that anyone gives a fuck about, you know what I mean? Like any music we've written that you've never really heard. But we've talked about it. We've discussed it. The answer is yes. Like eventually they will be out, because like there's no benefit in letting anything that you've written, if one person cares, shelving it doesn't make sense. Like, like at the end of the day, other people deserve it. We're not just writing it for ourselves. We're writing it for them too. Like, and so it will exist at some point. It'll be in the ether. I do think it'll make more sense down the road to
But
actually
you own those recordings?
Yes.
Yeah, they're just demos at my house.
Put it out on New Metal Agenda Worldwide. records.
Ton, dude.
Yeah,
Cool.
easy.
Yeah.
Speaking
Easy.
of records, we are counting on a new album, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's written already.
It's
being
all
mixed
it's all
right
it's
now.
almost done. I just have to mix it.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what the
Yeah.
fuck
Yeah.
I'm talking about, baby. Oh man. And we're also getting some questions here on touring plans. When are you going to play in Los Angeles, in the LA area?
That one's harder, man. We
in and
want to
around-
play. Yeah, that one's harder. We want to play, but it's again, people got lives and jobs and kids.
Fuck
Like
your jobs. Fuck your kids. Fuck your lives. Let's get a tour
I'll tell you
going.
what, convince these guys to pay us money we don't deserve,
Ah.
and we're so there.
You
yeah, that's
deserve
the
the
thing,
money.
though. Yeah. But we definitely are going. So like the way I think of it is, and it's funny. We were just, we have we'll get on Discord and have like band meetings and talk about stuff. And one of the recent things we're talking about is exactly this topic of playing shows. Um, and I think we're all excited about it. And we did play one show a few months ago back in Columbus, and it was so much fucking fun. But I think all of us are in agreement that first things first, we're gonna finish the album, finish the music, like that needs to be done, finish that, and then we can focus on playing some shows once it's out. So I think it doesn't really make sense for us to play any shows until that's released because the way I think of the show is the show is like the cherry on the top of the sundae, right? Like that's the celebration. That's where you get together with your fans. That's where you see people face to face. You feel all the energy, and the new music needs to be out for people to share in that.
Right.
So we want to play. Realistically, we'll probably be able to do a handful of shows each year, but to really try and make them special and make them significant and make them, worth people paying their money and their time to come see. So that's kind of how we're approaching it, where we definitely want to play some shows. A tour is a harder sell. That's just the
Okay.
reality of it.
We're going to wind this down right now. Before we go, though, I'm not usually at like a loss for words when I do this show, when I talk to bands, but I am a bit at a loss for words in trying to explain to you how significant your career and your albums have been to the music, to the genre that I've dedicated my entire life to. I simply don't know if nu metal would be in the place that it is right now if you hadn't have done Strangers Only, if you hadn't have done Unreal. I think that My Ticket Home is one of the most significant heavy bands of my lifetime, and I thank you so much for everything you've done for the music that I've dedicated my life to. I appreciate it all every day, and I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that the music that you've made together is significant in ways that you aren't quite aware of yourselves, and I thank you for it.
Dude, thank you so much,
Thank
man.
you,
Seriously,
man.
that
Wow.
means more than you can understand, probably. Like it does mean a lot to us, and I feel like I can speak for all of us when I say that. It's I do think that hearing that is kind of like bizarre to me, personally, because like I just felt like we were writing music that we enjoyed and that we wanted to present as us. So to hear that it meant something to someone that's like dedicated their life to it, like and really giving a fuck about like that genre of music, and it means a lot, man. So thank you.
Honestly,
Seriously.
man, like that's the dream because I know how certain bands have changed my life. You know what I mean? And affected my life. And that's what's so incredible about it is, like he said, you can just approach it with, I have this emotion or this feeling that I want to express for me. For me, it's always like a release or an escape, right? This thing that you just want to get out. And then it's easy to forget how much impact that can have when it's received by somebody else. And I think that's um, not lost on us, but we just it has felt so far away because we've been out of the scene for so long. So it means a lot for you to say that, man. Thank you.
Can I refer to My Ticket Home as a nu metal band?
Absolutely.
Yeah, whatever you want.
You can for sure, brother.
It's your own thing. Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's
Whatever
a
you want.
club. That's a table I'm happy to sit at.
Well, I'm here day one. I'm ready to get in line for the midnight release of whatever you guys come up with next.
Awesome.
Thank you
brother.
guys so much for coming on the show. Your music has changed my life. It's changed everyone in the chat room's life, whether they know it or not. And I speak for everyone. I say we are so excited to hear what you guys are coming up with right now.
Thanks, man. Thank you very much.
Thank
Pleasure
you.
to be here.
Thank you. And
My
keep your
ticket
ears-
home. Farewell. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yes. Take care, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.